Alexander Downer was Australia's longest-serving foreign minister. He joins me live from Melbourne. Good to talk to you again, Alexander. As I often mention when we chat, I used to work with you back during the Howard government years, and when you were my boss, we travelled to Iran. It wasn't your only visit there. I'm certain you went there more than once, but you've met with the mullahs there and with the politicians. You've obviously experienced over a long period in dealing with intelligence about Iran and its activities in that part of the world and around the world. I'm really eager to get your thoughts on what we've learned this week about its involvement in anti-Semitic terror attacks on our shores.
Well, I'm not surprised. The Iranian regime, the hardliners in the Iranian regime have been doing the same thing in other countries, in the UK and so on. And, of course, they want to foment division in our society as best they possibly can. And that's worked pretty well for them. They have certainly managed to rile a lot of people and cause a lot of social division. But I think it's important to recognise here the point about Israel. Israel has always been a great friend of Australia. And one of the things the Israelis have done is share their intelligence with us, including in my time, sometimes directly, sometimes through the Americans. And their intelligence on Iran is absolutely invaluable. No country, Western country, if you could call them that, no Western country has better intelligence on Iran than Israel. So I don't know in this particular case the extent to which Israeli intelligence was involved, but their intelligence has been hugely helpful to Australia, including stopping the airline blowing up plot in 2017.
Exactly. Well, I spoke a little earlier to Amichai Chikli, the diaspora minister from Israel, and he says Israeli intelligence would have informed Australia on this occasion. I'm interested to get your thoughts on whether this has had a political dividend over time, the fomentation of divisions in Australia, a political dividend for Iran. Here's the Shadow Foreign Minister, Michaelia Cash, on the program yesterday.
Mr Albanese has capitulated to the Islamic Republic of Iran. They have got what they wanted, Chris. The recognition of a Palestinian state whilst their proxies, the terrorist Hamas, are in charge.
Well, their ambassadors are leaving the country tomorrow, but have they got what they wanted from the Australian government?
Well, I think they've done very well with the Australian government because the campaign, which is is coordinated out of Iran but prosecuted by Hamas and their other proxies, Hezbollah, and so the list goes on, has gained real traction. It's been a huge propaganda victory for them, to the extent that many Australians now marching against Israel, denigrating Israel, chanting from the river to the sea, which let's translate that into English, that means the elimination of the state of Israel. So in that sense, they've been very successful. Not they alone, but the Iranians can be proud of what they've done. And they've got the Australian government frightened by this reaction, particularly in Islamic communities and amongst people on the far left who might otherwise vote Labor. They've become frightened of this, and now they've gone ahead with this slightly nutty idea of recognising a Palestinian state and once more giving a huge propaganda victory, not just to Hamas, but of course, above all, and ultimately, to Hamas's funders, who are the Iranians.
What possible reason could the Albanese Labor government have had for continuing to hold diplomatic relations with Iran after October the 7th, when we knew it was funded and initiated by Iran, and as were the almost immediate attacks from Hezbollah in the north?
Well, I'm not sure it would have helped to break off diplomatic relations with them, but what they've done, and people should really think about this, what they've done, and many people in the Australian media have done, is demonise Israel when the people who are behind this are the Iranians. And it is Iran, I mean the Iranian regime, not the Iranian people. The Iranian regime is behind all of this, behind the declaration of war against Israel on the 7th of October 2023, behind the whole campaign against Israel. The people ultimately behind this are the Iranians. And yet all the pressure from the Australian government has been put on Israel. Israel, you know, should have a ceasefire, always demanding Israel lay down their weapons, lay down their defensive weapons, all the whole time. When did the Australian government ever demand that Iran, instead of Israel, that Iran make sure their proxies stop this war?
Indeed. Thanks so much for joining us, Alexander. I appreciate it. Alexander Downer there. The pressure all along should have been on Iran.